All right, guys, the watch list for Monday be April 4th. Let's glance at the SPY real quick. Another gap down and then powerful all day long move. So, bulls are in charge. I don't know what to say. Usually after a sizable SPY candle like we had on Friday, like you had one here, you end up getting kind of a narrow range. So, but it doesn't always have to be that way. All right, I'm really impressed with the bulls. Really just keep pushing it up. It's impressive. So all we can do is try to take advantage of it using individual stocks. At least that's my method. I don't hold overnight. So I try to put together a video and a list every day of what might make me some money tomorrow. Okay, and then I'm back in cash that night, sleeping like a baby. So GNCA had this almost 25 million share huge move from whatever the low was this day. It went from actually 483 all the way up to 807. All right, and then gave a lot of that back on Friday. So people that feel like they missed out on the move and they still think the news is good, this is a pretty good setup for a third day move. It came in pretty nicely. This is one that could get a nice pop on Monday or Tuesday through Friday. Just keep this one on a chart. Anytime you get a stock that, if you take those volume candles out of it, a huge day in volume on this one was 3 million shares, right? And then the days before the pops, under 100,000 a lot of days. So this one has to be on watch for a good solid week. Might get some nice secondary plays out of it. GBSN, reverse split, so kind of have to scoot over to get all those spikes out so you can kind of see it. GBSN had this move. Again, this doesn't look like much. You saw, because of the reverse split, I had to zoom way in just so you could even see what happened. But went from 452 to 770 on Thursday, and then a more narrow range on Friday, a high of 785, low of 640. Closed near its lows. I'd kind of like to see this one come in another day, but it doesn't have to. I want to start watching this one for a long on Monday, but I'm not in love with this one. It's very low float now from what I understand, so it can move all over the place, but be careful with it if you trade it. It still has good potential for a nice move. TMST, this one's been on watch a lot lately. I still haven't gotten a breakout, but you notice you also haven't gotten a breakdown. You can really see a trend line now, so let me just throw that on there real quick. On a treadmill here, so if you hear some noise and you hear this old man breathing hard, that's why. All right, so pretty clear trend line here, and it's also got one down here. It's really in a tightening pattern. Because steels are strong, like US Steel, AKS, Nucor, STLD, Steel Dynamics, all very strong lately. This one, and I love the way this one's holding up. Every time it looks like it's breaking down below 9, it's right back up. So it's really close to that trend line. One potential catalyst would be a break of Friday's high, 926. So I already have that in my notes. And then I also have the number 944 in my notes, which would be a break of this 3-day high, which really breaks the whole last week's high. And then you're breaking this trend line. I called the same thing pretty much, I think, back here, somewhere when it looked like this. And you can picture the trend line, and it broke that. And now it's put in another nice flag, okay? So I like this one. 926, 944 are a couple catalysts. And then you can see this maybe moving up and breaking out through that 10 and maybe squeezing. So it's a pretty good setup. ARGS had a nice bounce. We caught this bounce. We had this on Bounce Watch on Friday. Thanks to Jane over there in England. She called it. This was the opening candle right here, the opening 5-minute candle. So over 649, this met our bounce play parameters. And Jane alerted it when it looked about like this. We were able to get in right as it broke the high of the day. Now, it didn't exactly rip, but it did make it to, let me switch to, switch back to the daily. It did give, like, I don't know, a 50-cent move. I might be wrong about that. Let me double check. No, yeah, that's about right. It was right around 650, and it did make it to 7, but you can see not a lot of volume came in. The reason it was on watch, because it's a low float and had a huge 4-day move. Sometimes after that 1 day down, it's right back up. Let's see, DRWI is another example. Now, this is not on watch. I mean, it's already made a huge 3-day move. It's on one of my monitors, but just to give you an example, we had this one on watch because of, let's go back to that one more time. Just to give you an example, it looked like this going into Friday, and it's already made a huge 2-day move. I told everybody that. I said, but if you pan out, this thing was much, much higher, so it might have another day in it. Okay, so this one went on watch on Friday morning before the open. And then met our parameters pretty well here. This was the opening 5-minute candle. Sellers came in. I told everybody if these sellers fail, I want to get long and call it basically right at 495 on the next candle. And that thing went really over about 20 to 25 minutes. It went from 495 to 639. I mean, that right there, this move, if you're a day trader, can just make your day. And I only show that as an example of why you know, something like an ARGS was on watch after a big move. You got to keep these, or why like GNCA is on watch. Got to keep these low float movers on watch. And DRWI is in my notes for maybe later next week. I'd like to see it come in for a couple days. And the same with a lot of these that have been really strong. So CSII, really nice breakout. I had this on gap play watch on Friday. We found it in the pre-market, but I never caught a trade in it. But you can see a really nice pop here and a pretty strong close. So I'm just going to watch for a red to green, like a follow-through day on that one tomorrow. PETX, this one had this spike, I think on earnings or FDA approval, and it went up to 617 on March 21st, right? Came in a little bit and then went sideways. Retested the 6 area on Thursday and then pushed up through it on Friday. So I like this, you know, over Friday's high. Friday's high was 618. The high of the FDA approval day, 617. So up over 619-ish. This one might make a move to 7. So I'm going to actually put 6.19 in my notes. That one's interesting, and it's got decent volume lately. So that's PETX. And then lastly, RH. RH kind of tried to break out of this. See, it gapped down here, probably on earnings, and then it's putting in one of these, well, it's just putting in a range after the gap down, but then it tried to break out of that range up into the gap, and then over the next 2 days, it's actually holding up pretty well and closing right at the top of that range. So this one might have more upside in it. You know, you generally get a battle here. Who's going to win, bulls or bears, right? Bulls tried, and it looked like the bears were right back in charge, and then it's building. So this one looks good over the 3-day high. We're going to watch for gappers in the morning on Monday as well. Some of these low float gappers are coming back in vogue. So if you're one of those people that likes to trade those, and I do, especially as gap plays, you know, stay vigilant because there's money to be made right now. Maybe it lasts a couple days, maybe it lasts a couple months, but it's time to start keeping those on watch again. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I think all of our lives are going to change over the next couple hours because the season finale of Walking Dead. I might have to take tomorrow off if something really bad happens. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your night. Talk to everybody on Monday.